Let everyone know we're live. Hi, everybody. We'll give it a couple minutes for people to trickle in. Live. Actually.
By the way, just so you know that it's 6 p.m. not 7.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Really?
No.
Oh, is there a daylight saving? There's a time change, right? That happened.
Yeah.
Today.
Oh, no wonder I'm tired. Oh, wait, no. The time thing that happened in America, did it?
No, but I guess over in France, right? I think there's some time change. Not here, but...
In France, yeah, it's 6
Oh, okay. I see. So it's actually 6 p.m. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Just check the...
Actually, I'm not late. I'm early.
That's what you're trying to get at. So supposed to be early. Okay.
Because when I see the message on Twitter, I was like, oh wait, it's already 7 p.m. No, actually it's 6.
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't realize the time had changed. Yeah. I know what we call military time because programmers use military time when we're coding because we have to we have to account for
that makes sense.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So
right.
it's much easier to keep up with, and I'm sure it probably is related to the whole Y2K thing as well. You know what I mean? Because that was a not that Y2K was necessarily real, but that was a fear that everything would freak out, and so there were adjustments that were made. Right. I'm pulling this out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure that it was related to that.
That makes sense too. It's related to that.
Yeah.
That was good.
Alright.
Now that I think about it, do you know that in OG, Iris is actually right with an S, but in France, Cloud was also right differently.
Yeah, wasn't it like
Cloud?
Yeah, Clad, right? Like CLAD,
like Claude, basically. Claude.
I think it's because people, when they saw like Cloud in French, they will say Claude.
That's right.
So I think they changed for Clad. But
yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Also, the word cloud. Not every English, letter type or character exists in the French. I'm sorry, exists in the Japanese. So, like, they even say cloudo.
Yes, they say
and it's actually curado, like curado. It's not cloud. Those, as far as I remember, there's no CL. There's no TH, and so they have that's why you see a lot of stuff. There's no L in general, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
so that's why you see everything saying
the N and the R and L are the same letter in Japanese. So it's a mixed symbol.
Yeah.
And the TH is read S. That's why people think it's an S.
That's why the ship for Cloudy is Kurati. Kurati.
Yes, that's right.
In the French. I'm sorry. Now y'all got me. In the Japanese.
Also, the ER is said up, so they say Kia Master.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because one thing is, for the most part, you're not going to have like cloud, which is CL, two consonants together. Japanese, for the most part, a lot of it is based on actual syllables. Usually it'll be, there's some exceptions, but a consonant and a syllable. So you can't technically have a CR or CL or whatever together, so it's technically like a KU. Ku, ra, u, do.
And that's why French words in Japanese are really funny because they
that must be
put a lot of it. Like for example, Charlotte in French is like Charlotte.
Yes. Wow. That doesn't really work. Yeah.
All right. All right. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So, of course, it's the girls, Stygian Game Stiletto. Oh wait, no, Stygian. Stygian Stiletto's gamer. Sorry, my brain is fried. Stygian Stiletto's gamer. I don't even know my own name. I am joined by Meza. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thank you for having me once again.
Awesome. And how are you, Elixon? Awesome. So we're doing another French lesson. Today we're going to be talking about chapter 11. Now, happens to be my least favorite chapter in the entire game. So playing through this was just a tragedy for me. But I did enjoy listening to it. It was almost kind of like the first time just listening to it in French. So it at least made it fun in this.
Yes.
But we're of course doing chapter 11 because it's a spooky chapter. You know, you got ghosts running around.
Halloween.
It is our Halloween stream. By the way, hashtag CloudyWeen22. People are still putting artwork out for that, so please check that out. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So our first scene is when Cloud, Aerith, and Tifa, they're standing on apparently the least. All of these trains are. There's a reason it's a train graveyard. None of these trains are safe for usage. So they fall through some. It almost seems like a trap door. I mean, they fall through. And then Cloud asks if they're okay. Aerith answers, and then Tifa answers she's clearly bothered because she's got Sector 7 on her mind and everything going on with that. But yeah, so we're going to start with that. And then we'll go through it line by line. Hi, Dante Room. Thank you for joining. I'm not sure what any of your commentary has to do with this French lesson, though.
Yes,
so
I have
to say that.
The lore of
you're talking about stuff that doesn't have anything to do with it. So forgive me if I don't respond. All right, now let's go ahead.
Est-ce que ça va?
Moi ça va, je te remercie. Ça va.
Tifa sounds like a porn star in the
Very high.
Well, I like it, yeah.
Oh, okay. You're rolling with it. I see.
All right, so yes, that was short, but yeah, let's get down to it. So let's start with here, and let me get the translation up here. One moment. Okay. There we go. All right.
Yes. So I actually started a little bit before where they hear some sort of weird noises, and Tifa says in the official English translation, "Huh? What is that?" You know, that's where I started. So in French, that's "Mais c'est quoi ce bruit?" Actually, Elixon, est-ce que tu veux bien lire en fait la ligne aussi, si tu veux bien?
Mais c'est quoi ce bruit?
Voilà. So literally, I kind of translated that as, but what's that noise? Or literally, it is what this noise. So, what is that? So first of all, just as I mentioned for our other lesson, what we have is the French version and then after that I'm giving my sort of more literal translation, and then we have Square Enix's official North American translation, which is actually a translation from the original Japanese, so we will see that it's not one-to-one.
Yes.
But at any rate, what I wanted to mention here is this is a very common structure. I call it sort of repetitive, right? You're saying literally, it's what? This noise. You're literally not saying, what is this noise? So that pattern is very, very common in French, where you're going to refer back to something that you've already referenced. It's just a very natural way to put things in French. So I have a couple more examples here. I'm going to go ahead and send them in the chat. So for example, if you wanted to just ask, what's that? One way you could say that is, c'est quoi ça? Which literally is, that's what? That. You know, it is what, comma, that. So it's just a very common thing in French that you will kind of refer to something that you've already referenced. Another example is if you want to say, what are you doing? You could say, for example, tu fais quoi toi? Which means you're doing what? You. Which we wouldn't say in English, but it's very natural in French. So Tifa is using the same type of pattern. It's what? That noise. And then I wanted to anything you want to say about that, Lilixon? Ça va jusqu'ici?
Yes, but actually, in France, you will say qu'est-ce que tu fais, toi?
Ah oui. Ah bon? Mais on peut aussi dire tu fais quoi toi? Est-ce que ça n'utilise pas quoi? Oui, il y a d'autres possibilités. Voilà. C'est ça.
It's just
Oui.
more like I don't say no say it's like
C'est très familier, hein? C'est un peu familier. Exactly. Oui, exactement. So I am going to. Oh, okay. So Steph is letting us know that there is an echo. Thank you, Steph.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry. Let me put my headphones in.
Yes. And actually, I was going to mention that Elixon about quoi. So I wanted to talk a little bit about quoi.
I knew I was forgetting something. Okay, but real quick though, so there's not an echo while we're.
Okay.
Because I always forget something. Oh my god. All right.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit about quoi. Now, first of all, like Elixon mentioned, quoi is kind of relaxed. It's kind of casual, and there are other ways to express that. So quoi is the question word for what, and depending on how you want to structure your question, you can use other words. So first, I wanted to talk a little bit about just asking questions in French, how you put together questions in French, because it is kind of flexible. So one way you could do it is you could put your question word at the beginning of a sentence. So let's say we have a simple question, which is, where are you going? We could ask that question in several ways in French. Now, a way that's pretty formal that you won't necessarily always use in spoken French is you take your question word and then you're going to use something called inversion. So if I wanted to say, where are you going? I could theoretically say, où vas-tu? Where go you? I have the verb, a hyphen, and the subject. This is called inversion. Now, this is a very sort of formal way to put together your question, but you can do it. Mm-hmm. Or instead, I could start with my question word and then add est-ce que, which just lets us know that we are asking a question. So technically, I could say où est-ce que tu vas? Literally, where is it that you're going? But we would just translate it as where are you going? Okay. So you can take your question word, follow it with this set est-ce que, and then the rest of your sentence, and that's a very standard way to ask a question. You could get yes.
I just ask a question about the question.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So is the est-ce que
mm-hmm.
is
yes.
that just to indicate verbally that you're asking a question versus, because obviously if you're reading it and you see a question mark at the end of it, you know it's a question. So it sounds more like a verbal cue. That's
right.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. It doesn't translate too well in English. Usually I don't translate it in my mind. It is just like you said, a verbal cue that I am asking a question. Okay. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you can translate it. It's just something to make people know that it's a question.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's sort of like because the inflection may not be as clear as it may be in English. Like you, if I say it's Tuesday versus it's Tuesday, you understand by my inflection that it's a question, but that may not necessarily be as clear. So that's kind of how I'm saying it, is just to make it totally clear and people aren't misunderstanding, because French seems to be a lot about clarity. Well, not clarity. Clarity is to put that esca. Okay, I need to get this right. Esca.
That's right. Esca.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, to get that conveyed to the person that you're speaking to. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. So we do have the esca, but you can. Here's a shorter way to do it. You technically could go où tu vas. Now this is very kind of relaxed, but literally where you go. So that could happen where you take your question word and just follow it with the subject and the verb. But again, it's pretty relaxed. Or you can put your question word at the end of the sentence. So you could also say tu vas où, which literally is you go where. So there's some flexibility. Now, going back to quoi, though, the thing with quoi, which means what as a question word, is that unlike où, which means where, right? It didn't matter where we put it in the sentence, it just stays où. Quoi is going to change based on which structure you choose to use. So, for example, Elixon did mention qu'est-ce que. So if you want to start your sentence with the question word what, instead of quoi, it would become qu'est-ce que. So let's say we want to say, what are you doing? If we want to start the sentence with the word what, it's going to look like qu'est-ce que tu fais? I'll send that in the chat. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Is how you could say, what are you doing? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Now, let's say you want to, for whatever reason, be a little more formal. I said you could start with your question word and you could have inversion. Even though that's pretty formal, you could do it. If you do that, qu'est-ce que is going to change, and now it becomes just que. So technically, for what are you doing, I could say que fais-tu? Que with inversion. I cannot say qu'est-ce que fais-tu? It doesn't work. Now I must use que for what. But let's say I want to put the question word at the end. That is where it is going to become quoi. So when I want to say what is a question word, but I'm choosing to put the question word toward the end of the sentence, I must use quoi. And that's when you could say something like tu fais quoi toi? You know, you're doing what? You. So if we look back at Tifa's sentence, because she's choosing to not put what at the beginning of the sentence, it's not qu'est-ce que, that is why it is quoi. C'est quoi ce prix? Voilà.
And does formality have anything to do with any of these variations? And also does written again versus speaking have anything to do with these variations?
Yes. So the most so-called proper and formal way to pose a question is the que fais-tu, meaning you start with your question word and then you have inversion. This is quite formal, and so really in everyday spoken French, it's less likely that you're going to put things that way because it's rather proper. It's more common that you're just going to say something like qu'est-ce que tu fais, and then the tu fais quoi, which Elixon also mentioned. Quoi is pretty casual. In my opinion, if you're trying to really be formal and polite, quoi is not your go-to. Qu'est-ce que is more neutral and sort of standard. So quoi is pretty relaxed. That's a more relaxed way to ask a question.
Okay. Yeah, that is a lot to take in, but man, I mean, it's just amazing how one sentence I'm like, wow, okay. And I had a final question about this before we move on. Is do you see any particular reason why or when the what is it called? Oh goodness, like esque, the dash, you know, when the hyphen. Sorry, yeah.
Oh yeah, the wonderful hyphen.
Oh good lord. I opened up Pandora's box.
No, no. So eske technically is an example of inversion, right? And again, inversion is the idea that instead of having the subject plus the verb, you put the verb first, and then you need a hyphen, and then you have your subject. And that form, again, is a little more formal when you do that. So technically, esker is an example of inversion. It's actually an inversion of it is, which would be C apostrophe EST. So you're taking this C apostrophe EFT and you're switching the order, and it becomes esque. So the short answer is that the hyphen is there because you are inverting the verb and the subject. And in French, that requires the hyphen.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Okay. And and what is the purpose of inverting in the first place at all?
Right. It's just a structure. It's just a grammatically complete way to form a question, because some of the ways that we went over here, like if you say something like "où tu vas," it can be said, but technically it's not grammatically correct. This is in English, right? You can ask a question, "Do you want to do?" But a lot of times you say wanna go out. That's not grammatically correct, but we say it. So likewise in French, there are certain ways to put together a question that are considered grammatically correct, and there's others that aren't quite, but they're just common. So the inversion is just a common pattern there. You can really put together your question in a grammatically complete, sort of formal, really nice form. So it's just a sort of formal way of putting together a question, and for whatever reason, it's just the way you can do it in French. Very common pattern. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, and so we're here now with Cloud's line.
Yes.
And of course, so we went over. We went over Eske.
Yes, that's right. So this is a perfect example. Cloud uses esker. So esker, in this case, as we mentioned, it just means I'm going to ask you a question. And when you have esker on its own, there's no other question word in front of it. It actually is going to be a yes or no question. A yes or no question. So we know that Cloud is asking a yes or no question. And the question is, ça va? Est-ce que ça va? Which I have translated as "Are you okay?" or literally "Is it going? Is it going okay?" And the official translation is "You okay?" Mm-hmm. So if Cloud wanted to, he could have dropped the "est que," and it's fine. He could have said "ça va," or you can say "est-ce que ça va?" Both work. Mm-hmm. Are you okay? Est-ce que ça va? Voilà. Any questions about that? I know we've talked about ça va before. It's just a way of asking if someone is okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, that's and I implore people to refer back to the first French lesson. Yeah, that sounds pretty straightforward for me.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this, and by the way, this is. I almost started laughing because I was about to make a joke. I was about to say, yeah, this is Cloud asking his lover if she's okay. And Eric, of course, responds.
Yeah, of course.
Oh man.
And there's nothing here in the question that indicates that he is talking only to Aerith
at all. Yeah, but we're not dealing with logic at this point. So
actually,
no, we're not.
Actually, yes. Like we've seen all the variation, and we can say that we always have the formal, the casual, and the casual incorrect one. And here, when he asks "Est-ce que ça va?" and not just "ça va," it means that it's casual but correct. It means that there is some respect in the sentence. It's not like he's not asking a close friend. He's asking someone he's with. Like he's just.
Oh, so you're saying that the way that he asked it, you're saying it does imply Aerith because he's not being casual like he would like if he was talking to Tifa. Is that what you're saying?
You have multiple like casual sentences, and the more like casual incorrect, you know that the person know you, and you can like just do incorrect sentences, and they
Oh, we
can
might
know
have just set off a
what you
firestorm.
mean. They can know what you mean by that. That's why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes
That's why
perfect sense.
like for example, the est-ce que tu vas, it's really the formal one. Tu vas où is the casual one, and où tu vas
Right.
is really like you know
Really.
you know what
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean. I mean,
Exactly, right? Yeah, so
the
that,
skill
Wow.
level.
it's a good point. Yeah, so like we mentioned, Stitch, right? There are ways to put together a sentence or a question that are more so-called correct, and others that are not technically correct, even though they're said a lot. So definitely, but yeah, when Cloud is using esker, that's a very sound sentence structurally. It has everything that it needs to be a grammatically complete sentence, right? So which gives it a more, slightly more, I guess you could say, formal, or it's not as casual as it
Yeah.
could be.
And that
Right.
makes perfect sense. I mean, again, of course, I didn't play the game in French, but it would just in general, because we know these characters, it would make sense that he would be a little more formal in some ways, less familiar. Let me put it that way. He would
Yes,
talk less
yes.
familiar with their, which is pretty telling. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be that person. Let me just y'all know how to respond to
It's all
this.
good. It's all good. I don't.
It's interesting that this is chapter left after he spent 2 chapters with her, and he is still feeling the need to do stuff like this. It's just it's informative. And then also I love that we're not going to get into this, but he asked Aerith if she's well, you can tell by his eye line, like Tifa's still on the ground, Aerith is standing up, and she dusts herself off, so you can tell clearly he's at least looking at her and saying, "Are you okay?" What's interesting is later in the same chapter, when he saves them again, he looks right at Tifa. It's almost like it almost felt like an apology for not asking her. It's just like, "Are you okay?" And Tifa's smile says, "Yeah, I am. Thank you. Whatever." And then Aaron's like, "You saved us, Kyle." And he doesn't even look at her. He's just like, "Whatever."
Whatever, girl.
I don't know what Claire see in this game that makes them. But anyway, all right, whatever.
It's a mystery that will never be solved. Literally, an unsolvable mystery.
Here's what it is. Anyway, thank you, Alexa, for that context. Yeah, that's very interesting. I know. I'm sorry, Zayana. I apologize. I'm gonna stop being me. And hey, Charles, how are you?
Never stop being you. Never stop being you.
The last 48 hours has just annoyed the hell out of me with this fandom. So I'm like, whatever. Anyway, that's great. Okay, so let's go to the next and get to Aerith. Let's see her line. She is just the
I will never
cutest.
say.
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
This is where I think I'm gonna stay quiet and just be like, no comment. Pas de commentaire. Okay.
What does that mean? I'm good, or what does that mean?
Yes. So she says, moi, ça va, je te remercie.
No, I meant what you
moi,
said. I meant the shade you just threw. What does that mean?
Sorry, let's go back. What did I say? I think I said pas de commentaire.
Yeah.
Like, no comment.
Oh, no comment. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I'll be very well behaved, and I will just go,
It's interesting. And to get back to the French lessons, so yeah, I can see "ça va" is used. It's almost like it's a question and a response.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because the statement, or the question rather, if you say "ça va," you're asking someone, "Are you okay? Are you doing well? How are you?" And the response "ça va" means, "Yeah, I'm good. It's fine. It's okay." Exactly. And we're going to see a little later that "ça va" is going to come up again, and in my opinion, it's actually going to be used a little differently. So "ça va," depending on the tone of voice and the context, can take on some different meanings. But here, definitely when Eric says "moi, ça va," it literally means me. It's going, meaning I'm good. And then we have "je te remercie," which literally means I thank you, or we could say thank you. So I translated it as I'm good, thank you. And I put little, asterisks around I'm, because when you add the little moi again, literally you're saying
Me.
me, like kind of emphasizing that you're talking about yourself. Like in English, we usually will use intonation, right? We might say, "Well, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good." So moi ça va means yeah, I'm that's for me. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Je vous
and it makes
remercie.
sense in context because he's saying, "Are you okay?" And she's like,
Right.
"Me, I'm good." You would almost, I would almost even put a question mark after moi.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Me,
That's how we.
I'm good.
Yes. Now in French, I'm going to say you would not need to put that question mark because French again is very self-referential, so to speak. So you don't need to put the question mark. You can literally just have the comma. But in English, yes, that's how we would do it. We would say like, "Oh, me?" Question mark. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good. Exactly. It's that sort of idea. So we have moi, ça va, je te remercie, and the official translation there is all good. I think. So maybe this isn't major, but we can definitely see that this I think is not there in the French. So I don't know where the I think is coming from because at least in French there's no hesitancy. It's just yeah, I'm good, thank you. So.
Yeah.
Um, who knows what's going on there. But I wanted to mention with this moi, this is also something that's really, really common. As I said in French, we're referring to ourselves in a sort of repetitive way. And again, in English, sometimes we'll do this with our tone of voice, but with French, they will use that me, I'm. So I have an example sentence here. Let's say I want to say, well, I'm American, you're French. Like there's a sort of contrast there and we can use our tone of voice in English to communicate that. But this is how you might put it in French. You could say, moi, je suis américaine. Toi, tu es français. Right? There's a context. So you, or rather, me, I'm American. You're French. And again, in French, this is just a really common way to set up that contrast. So rather than just tone of voice, you're actually saying it explicitly. Like, me, I'm American. Moi, je suis américaine. Voilà.
Okay. Yeah. Zayana just said, "J'avais jamais fait attention." Or did I
Oh,
say that
oui,
right at
Me
all?
too. I never. Me too.
which means like she never noticed that. She never thought about that. She never paid
Yeah, me
attention
too.
to that.
The same.
Ah, oui, 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 c'est ça. Yeah, because when you speak a language, when it's your native language, right? I think it's the same stage with us in English, probably. We don't think about some things, right? We just do it without thinking. And then sometimes when you hear someone else talk about your language, you're like, oh, that's true. I never noticed that.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah. No, this is a
Exactly.
fascinating discussion all around. I love it.
That's why I'm learning at the same time.
Yeah.
I love it, and I love how we have native French speakers who were tuning in and typing in. That, I
And
really
one in the
appreciate.
chat. Yeah. I mean, I'm one on the stream. Yeah. Election.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and then we have Steph in the chat. So thank you very much. That's great.
And
Yeah.
hey, feel free to chime in. By the way, Election.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you want to. Like we just
Oh, yeah. Whenever you want, just jump in. Yeah. Whenever you
You're the
want.
new guest, so feel free to chime in anytime you want to.
Exactly. You. Exactly.
In fact, why don't we let him explain J'étais
Oh, okay.
remercie?
Je te remercie. Je te remercie.
Is that okay? So, isn't that literally saying I, you, and something around
Yes.
thank you?
You think, right?
You
literally.
think. Okay.
Literally.
So, you have any thoughts on that, Lixon?
Yeah. I mean, it's literally what we said before. It's the formal, casual, and casual incorrect. So we have like je vous remercie. It's really formal with the vouvoiement. I don't know if you already explained it, Mesa.
Yeah, I think we did talk a little bit about that, right? The difference between vous and tu. In the previous lesson, I should say, I think we did talk about that.
Then the je vous, it's really the maximum formal you can do. Like the je vous remercie. Then you have the je te remercie. It's a little more friendly, and you have the literally merci.
Voilà.
The casual
Right.
thing, and so here to say moi ça va and then say je te remercie, it's almost jumping between formal and casual.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so and I think this is probably more the case. I don't know if this is true in French than in English. This idea that you have these levels of formality. You go from the
For
most
sure.
formal and the most grammatically correct, and then you have different ways you can put the same thing that get more and more casual, less grammatically correct. So, as Elixon said, if we want to say thank you, again, if we're being really formal, we could address the person with vous, right, and say je vous remercie. Now, here, Aerith, somewhat, kind of, sort of, whatever, nose cloud, whatever.
Well, I mean, she's. I mean, I think it's part of her character. Like, she is very
Exactly,
informal in
exactly,
general.
and
So I think she may have just been kind of giving him back a little bit of that energy he was giving her with being a little formal, and then she just jumps back into being her. That's how I kind of
right.
The moment you become the moment you became friend with someone, you will rarely like keep the vous. You will just say
Right.
tu
Yeah.
for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So she is doing that, but as Edixon mentioned, by the same token, if you want to say thank you, the simplest way to say it would just be merci. So she did choose to use something that's a little, a little longer there. Je te remercie, right? I thank you. So that gives it a little more something than just saying merci. Voilà, merci. And I wanted to mention also this te. This te, which again means you, and it's informal when you're referring to one person. But the thing is, in French, when you want to translate you informally, once again, just like with quoi, there are a couple of possibilities. For example, we mentioned tu, right, which is tu. That also translates as you. So what is the difference, for example, between tu and te? And it's all about grammar. French is very conscious of grammatical roles. So tu, which means you informal, is actually used when it is the subject of the sentence, the subject pronoun. So if I want to say something like you are French or you speak French, that's the subject, and that's when we will use tu. However, here she's saying literally, I thank you. So you is not the subject. It's what we call the object. You're performing an action technically on this person. And when you informal is the object, grammatically we must use te, which is te.
That makes
so that's
sense.
why.
Yeah, because in this sentence, je would be the subject.
Right. Exactly.
Thank would be the verb, and then
Yes.
te would be the object.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. So we do have that.
Can I just ask in general? Do you know why, or you or Elixon know why? So in English, we would just say "I thank you" if we were, being literally translating what.
Yes, right.
Why do they put the object before the verb? Oh Lord,
That's a good question. I don't know the answer. I don't know if it's linked to, and I don't know this to be the case. I could be totally wrong. I don't know if it's linked to Latin because, of course, French is a Romance language that comes from Latin. But I don't know. Do you know Elixon? I really don't know the why of it. I just
ask
know
him what
it
I
is.
relate to him what I asked in French.
I would say that
okay.
as a native, it's just intuitive. So I really don't know at all.
Yes, right.
Why you can do that?
Easy. Exactly. Stitch, though, if I would have to guess, I think it might be linked to Latin in the sense that it's not only French, but it's the other Romance languages, Spanish and Italian, and I'm guessing probably Portuguese. They all share this same quality. So I'm just going to have to guess that maybe that's something that's borrowed from the structure of Latin, perhaps.
And that makes sense because, as we've mentioned, English is a bit of a Frankenstein language. So I mean, it doesn't follow any particular like. It's not that French is unusual. English is unusual. So,
yeah, exactly.
Because other languages have much more structure. Yeah. So and Ziana just said, je ne pourrais. I forgot. Pourrais. I'm supposed to get the ha out of the back of my mouth.
You gotta get that ha in there. Yeah.
Le dire. Oh, see, okay. You tell me how to actually say it and what it means. I know it's a
Yes,
negative something. I don't think about it or something. I
yes,
don't know.
that's right. Je ne pourrais le dire aussi, meaning I couldn't say it either. I guess we
Oh,
would say. Je ne
okay.
pourrais.
Like she
I
could
wouldn't
like
be able to say it either.
yeah, she's responded to like why yeah, I got
Yes.
you.
Yes. I think she's responding exactly. She wouldn't be able to say why you put the object before the verb either. C'est ça. Voilà.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. So I wouldn't be able to say either.
I think
Exactly.
it's a common thing in French. You use the you, and then you say the thing. It's just
Absolutely.
like really common thing in French. I don't know. I think it's the same thing as saying an orange monkey, and in French is monkey orange.
Yes,
You put
that's
the
right.
name before the
That's
adjective.
right. Exactly. Where a lot of adjectives in French and in other Romance languages tend to come after, and it's like, why? C'est comme ça. Again, that might come from the Latin, but I'm just like, it just is.
I'm sorry,
You know what I mean? You go,
before I die, I need to know how to say the orange monkey in French. So I need y'all to tell me how to say the orange monkey.
please,
Right
Elixon, how would you, how would you say the orange monkey in French? Yes,
Un singe orange.
c'est ça.
Un
And I
singe
will go ahead.
orange.
And I will go ahead and because this is a very useful and important phrase.
Absolutely. Please
I will,
put it in the
I will
chat.
put that in the chat for you. So get out your notepad.
I understand
Stan,
les
write this
ronges.
down.
Oh, okay. Les
Le
singes.
singe, le singe
Les
orange.
singes orange.
Just so
Okay.
you know, we are as surprised as you when we first like the first English lesson is always
Yes.
about this orange monkey.
Oh,
I don't know
really?
why, but
That's so
they
funny.
talk about the orange monkey, and we are like, wait, isn't it monkey orange? No, it's French thing. We
Yeah.
say monkey
I
orange
thought that
in
was
French.
such a I was like, where did he come up with orange monkey? And then I was like,
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah,
it was a
it's-
thing. Oh,
that's very interesting. And
Oh.
and last thing, and I might have asked you before, but
Mhm.
and this may just be another, nobody knows why, but
Yeah.
the male versus female designation of
Yes.
subjects. What's that
Yeah.
about?
I
Now-
have no idea, really.
Yes. Now, exactly. Now, when you say subject, for example, are we talking about noun stage? For example, it happens that the word for car is feminine, la voiture, but book, le livre is
Yeah,
masculine.
yeah.
That whole thing.
Like you're using le here,
Right.
uh,
Right.
versus la.
Mhm. Oh yeah,
That's what I'm
exactly. First of all, and I think I mentioned this briefly in the previous lesson.
I
One
think
thing
so.
I want to mention now, if we're talking about people, la femme, the word for woman is feminine, right, and the word for man is masculine. That makes sense, and I think it is linked to the fact that woman is feminine and a man is masculine. But when we're talking about objects, things that aren't people, abstract ideas, the masculine versus the feminine, in my opinion, it's not like a philosophical sort of thing. So it's not like someone sits there and goes, well, boat is masculine because boats have this strong masculine energy. No, I think it's something probably grammatical. I think it has to do with the origin of the word sometimes. If it's a borrowed word, they'll maybe consider that. Sometimes it has to do with the ending, the way that the word is spelled. So there's no perfect rule, but there are certain endings that tend to be feminine. For example, I-O-N, very feminine ending. So the word for nation, which is N-A-T-I-O-N, is feminine. La nation. Why? I would say because it ends in I-O-N, and I-O-N is a feminine ending. So it usually has to do with the structure of the word,
Okay.
the origin of the word, not this kind of philosophical concept of what it means to be.
yeah,
masculine.
like books are masculine, but
Right,
livre,
yeah.
le livre.
Yes. No, it's probably because who knows, the ending, the origin of the word. So there may be some logic, but I definitely agree that at this point, it's something that you just learn naturally. There's no real logic behind it, so to speak. It just is. You just, when you learn the word book, you learn that it's le livre. You learn that it's masculine, and it's like, okay.
Oh, and that
Don't worry,
pronounce
even French don't know when to say le or la with a
Right.
word they never used. Don't
Right?
worry about
It's
that.
Yeah, I
tough.
would
It's
imagine
tough to
because it just
get.
seems a bit.
Yeah.
It seems a bit. In that sense, it feels a bit kind of like how I before E except after C when it comes to English, except we break that rule all the time. So it's just like
See,
it just
that's
is
a
what it is.
very French thing.
You just have to
Yes.
know.
You
Like you just
just have
have
to
to
know.
know.
For example, I have the best example, I think.
Hmm.
In
Hmm.
flower, in French, is fleur and is
Yes.
feminine, but
Yes.
pétale is masculine, and everyone think that is
Oh,
feminine. You can
that's
ask
right.
every single French person, they will say it's
Oh.
feminine, but no, it's actually masculine.
Ah, yeah, I see. And le pétale is, yeah,
Le
exactly.
pétale is
So,
masculine. But
voilà,
everyone
voilà,
say
c'est
la
ça.
So the
pétale.
flower as a whole is
Yes.
feminine, but the individual petals are
Yes.
masculine. Yeah,
Right.
that's a great
Exactly.
example. That's a great example.
Exactly. Yes, because sometimes, it's really tough because if you see a word that ends in the letter E, yeah, like if I saw pétale and you had me guess, I probably would guess feminine as well. I see that E at the end, I'm like, looks like it could be feminine, but it doesn't always work. It's like, nah.
All right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny. All right, let's get to the next.
Oh yeah, and I do see that Steph
I'm sorry.
says
I
that
can't
she
get over this. I'm sorry.
yes.
Sorry, I can't.
French
Is
voice
it the
actor like to mourn that all.
Apparently. I don't know. One day we have got to do the train roll. In fact, we
Oh
might
yeah.
actually because actually I might do it while we're here.
Yeah.
Because
Ooh.
that because it's only one line, so we can go back.
Yeah,
Oh, or
yeah.
two lines. Sorry,
Okay.
2 lines. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I'm just a child right now. I'm like.
No. I'm with you. I feel you.
Okay, so I noticed she just said ça va, but I actually didn't realize she actually said a word before she said ça va. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's more a sound, so she says,
oh,
ooh, ooh, I ça va. So the
okay.
ooh is just like oh, and I is actually the equivalent of ouch or ow, right? It's the French version. It's just more a sound than a word, so to speak. It's just indicating that something hurts, right?
Like
You're in a little bit
like
of
if you
pain.
say oink in English. I mean, you're
Yeah,
verbalizing the
right.
sound. I got you. Okay,
Yes,
gotcha.
exactly. So I is more the equivalent of ow or ouch. So she's like in English I had oh ow, I'm okay. So and she's getting there's a little bit of pain there, and she's working working through it. Exactly. Now in English, for whatever reason, they get a little more
Mm,
elaborate and they still in one piece here too, which is like
yeah, which gives a
okay,
different. It definitely gives a much different connotation to the.
hello.
Like,
Come
hey,
on
I'm
now,
here. And that's why people think
Hey,
this has
you
something to do with the LTD thing. Because, like, Cloud just
exactly
asked Aerith if she's okay. And then Tifa jumps up and
right.
is like, I'm okay too. Like, and then,
Yeah,
I mean,
like you
that's
didn't
the
ask,
impression
but
they give. I
just
don't
in
think that's
case
what was
you're
going.
wondering.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't think that's what was
Hmm.
going through her mind at all. But that is the
Hmm.
impression they give, Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So we will see that where, for whatever reason, the North
Mm,
American version usually adds some extra spice and adds, and Steve was just saying "ça va," very neutral, just like I'm okay, but still in one piece. That's a more elaborate way of putting it. So for whatever reason, they tend to like to do that in
yeah.
the
For
North
whatever.
American version.
All right,
Hmm.
let me butcher some more of what Ziana is saying. So,
No. Hmm.
now the le, if it's les, I say le or luh or luh
Le. If it's les, it's going to be le.
le
Le.
le
Yes.
le. Okay,
Yes.
le vous ooh le
Yeah.
voix
That's a word.
le
Very good. Exactly.
okay
Yes.
le
Yes.
voix France. Now, what makes the es? I don't even understand. Es
Yes. Française. Française. Yes.
France.
Yes.
So like kind of a Z sound almost.
Yes. Yes.
Française. Something
Hmm.
française. Okay. Me.
Yes.
Tuon.
Yeah. Me tue. Me tue.
me too. Okay, me too.
Voilà.
Like a hot chew.
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah, achoo. Sorry,
And then,
bless you. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I know it's low, but
No,
low. Lexion, could you
Yes.
explain to me what that means?
It means that the French voices kill her.
Right. Meaning they're interesting, right? You know, they're kind of
Hilarious. You can say hilarious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Okay.
In
Yeah.
the
They're a
S
trip,
is
you know?
pronounced Z when it's between two vowels.
Yes, exactly. Between two vowels, that S is going to sound like a Z. And the ES at the end stage, speaking of masculine versus feminine, so it so happens that voix, which is VOIX, is feminine. The voice would be la voix. So once something's feminine, everything around it needs to agree. So we're making French feminine plural. We're saying the voices, right? So we're adding that ES on the end, which gives us française. We don't hear the ES, but it does give us les voix françaises.
Voix française. Okay.
Mhm,
And then
mhm.
on dit is a dit pas mal ce mot.
Oui, on dit pas mal ce mot. Voilà. Which means, yeah, we use this word often. So on dit is like we say, and pas mal literally means, well, it's a set expression. So pas mal means you do something a lot. You do something quite often. And then ce mot is this word. So we use that word a lot. And she's referring, I believe, to I, right? We said that I means ouch. And she's saying, yeah, we use this word a lot.
And I noticed pa is not in a negative sense in this case. So what exactly does it mean in this particular?
So exactly. So pas mal literally would literally mean not bad, but that's not what's happening here. Pas mal here can mean that. Like if someone asks, how are you doing? You could say pas mal, not bad.
Yeah, because I thought ma was bad as well, like literally bad. So I'm a little confused by this particular sentence.
However, this is what I love to call a set expression. Pas mal can also be a set expression that together is kind of like beaucoup, a lot. For example, if I want to say, there's a lot of people, right? I could say il y a beaucoup de gens, let's say. Or I could say il y a pas mal de gens. It's almost like you're saying there's not a bad amount of people. Like there are quite a bit, of people here.
Okay.
So pas mal here is a set expression that means we would say often in this case. Like we say it a lot, right? We say that a lot.
Okay. Cool. All right. So let's see. I think we got that.
Now that I saw it, just the word on.
Yes.
In the previous lesson, you talked about replace the nous. I have a fun fact about it because our French teacher always said on c'est pour les cons, which means literally on is for stupid people.
Wow, I see.
People. Because when you write, like I said last time, you always say nous and never on. On is really the casual thing you say with your friend. You don't write it.
Right.
And so your French teacher, just to express this, just to remind you that you never wrote on, like in like an exam, they say on, c'est pour les cons. Literally, if you say on, you're stupid.
Yeah. So
okay.
In the chat, I say on, c'est pour les cons. Yes.
And just to acknowledge the reason we're mentioning this, of course, one obviously is just to let people know there's a difference between writing it and listening, but also when Meza is doing these translations, she is translating someone speaking. She's not translating someone writing something.
Exactly.
So it's a very important difference to understand why it's not that she doesn't know these differences, is obviously it's just that she's accounting for the fact that you're talking about people speaking to each other.
Right.
So that's very good. And then what? And then there's one last scene from here, and then I didn't put it on here, but I'll put it in the other one. So I didn't realize you put Now, how do I say this? Regardez.
Regardez, regardez,
And this is
regardez.
plural, right? Because she's talking to two different people.
Absolutely. This is the vous form, but this is the plural vous, right? Absolutely. And she's telling them, look, literally, a command. In English, they translate this as guys, which again, it's not exact, but it gets the idea across.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I guess
you
the
know,
same idea across is true.
it's the same idea,
And and this brings up another question for me in general. So the way that we say guys, like if we're talking about, we're talking about Tifa, we say Huron.
Yeah.
If we're talking about Tifa and Aerith, we say Hurons.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about all three of them, we say heroes. You see what I'm saying? Is there any type of
Yeah.
Elixion? Is there any type of thing like that in French where if you're talking about multiple people with different genders, you just make it a masculine comment or something like that?
Yeah, when you have only female, you transform the word in female, but as soon as you have one guy in the group, it automatically become like masculine. The word is masculine.
Yeah.
That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought so.
The masculine wins out. Exactly. So if you want to say, for example, they, and let's say you're referring to a group, like it could be one man and literally a million women, but you still need to use the masculine. It will be il, I-L-S. The only time you can use a feminine is if it's 100% all women, then you could say elle, for example, E-L-L-E-S, the feminine form of they, for example. Yeah, the masculine
That's
wins out.
sexist. That's really
It's
sexist.
sexist. French is a sexist language. Yes.
Well, I mean, all languages are sexist because obviously this is
No,
a pattern.
yeah,
I was just curious. I thought so. I thought I remembered that, but yeah, it's
Absolutely.
interesting. I mean, apparently it's fine to think because how could you possibly tell if you say it in a masculine sense, a band of heroes? You can't tell if there's any women in it or not. But you have to be 100% clear if it's just women.
Yes, that's right. We have the same thing going on in English as well.
Yeah, Zayana's not very happy
Absolutely.
about the rule, according to her comment.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. It's I think there are some. There's some discussion, I believe, in France about that, how to handle the idea of gender, but I think it's really, really tricky, right? Because it's really embedded in the language itself.
Yeah, I actually was thinking about how the Romance languages are dealing with the whole,
Oof.
the new,
Right?
pronoun thing and the transgenderism and stuff like that. Not that we have to get anything serious like that. I'm just saying,
Right.
I think that is definitely. I mean, it's already a struggle for English people. I'm sure it's going to be a super big struggle for languages that are so structured in, regardless of what as we just said, we don't know what the origin of this stuff is, but the point is like there is so much tied into masculine versus feminine and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting. All right,
So what I wanted to mention about this regarder, as we said, this is the vous form, and vous, as we've mentioned before, I think of it as kind of doing double duty. On the one hand, in some contexts, it could be used to be formal, right, when you are addressing someone in a formal manner, but it also is used for the plural. So that's what's happening here. Because Tifa is addressing both Cloud and Aerith, she's going to use the vous form here, and it's just because it's plural. Regardez. And I wanted to mention that this is a command, right? Technically, this is what we call the imperative, the command form. And for regular verbs, in particular, if you want to put something into the command form in French, let's say for vous, you can just take the present tense version and you drop your subject, and there you have it. That's the command form. So, for example, if I wanted to say, you look, using vous, making like a statement, it would be vous regardez, you look or you are looking. Vous regardez, it would be spelled the same as it is here. Okay. If I want to make that into a command, I would drop the vous, and there we have it. Regardez is the command form for the vous form.
Okay. How do you say bed in French?
Le lit. This is masculine, so le lit.
Le vie.
which is Lit. Le lit,
Oh,
which
le
is
lit.
Lit.
Okay, so if Tifa were commanding Cloud to get into bed, how would she delete? Would
What would you say in Dixon? How would you? How would you?
Okay.
You
What
have to
is the
handle this.
exact sentence you want?
Yes, give me, what is the exact sentence?
Well, I want because you know like you would it would sound very informal, I think. Like look, for instance, in regardez.
Regardez.
That's not a sentence, right? I mean, that's just.
Yes, that's a complete sentence, just as in English. Look, right? The command form, that is a complete thought. You are instructing someone, commanding someone to do something, which is considered complete.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it is considered complete. Okay, so what would be the complete way of saying? Man, I'm trying to think of other scenarios in which this would apply. And first thing I thought was Tifa commanding Cloud to bed. So
I see another example of a. Well, we could do that if Elixon wants to translate that. We can make it there. That's up to you. You know.
I think if you really like want Tifa to command Cloud to bed, I think she'll just say, "Come sleep." Like in French, when you say "come sleep," it can mean like literally everything.
Oh,
So, yeah,
nice.
Like,
so how would
from
you say come
sleeping
sleep?
to viens te coucher.
Like
I will put that in the chat for you, Stitch.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna remember that one too. Yeah.
Literally, when you say to someone to like viens te coucher with you, it's you can
Yes.
be. It can be sleeping, it can be playing, it can be something that you are
Whatever you
thinking
wanna
right
do.
now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It can literally mean anything.
Okay.
Exactly, because
As soon as
Keeping
you
this
count
one in the
Ocean
back of my
Phoenix.
mind, absolutely.
yeah,
All right.
right, because we have that song, right? Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?
I literally
right?
was about to bring that up, but I thought that'd be too
Yes.
stereotypical of me to.
That's the perfect example where when they say coucher, you know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Voulez-vous coucher
They're not
avec
talking
moi
about going
ce
to sleep.
soir?
Mhm.
And now I do notice in that since we're on the topic, they use vous. And I think it's because of the context of the song. It's not somebody they're familiar with. Am I reading that right? Or is it?
Yeah.
Are they talking to plural? I don't think they're talking to plural people. Are they?
Well,
They're talking to a
that would be a
specific
different
person.
song, right? That's
when you I think it's the only example I have in mind is like if you just met this guy or this girl and you already want to ask something like this, but like you're in the beginning of the relationship, so you still say the vous and not the tu because you're not close enough, and so you can literally go. You can literally go super far in a relationship just with vous because you are not close enough to the person to say tu.
Yeah. That's kind of how I took it. Yeah.
yeah.
That's so
yeah.
funny because everybody, I mean, everybody knows that line. I'm like, why is this the only French people know other than parfait? Parfait. I mean, parfait.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
All right, so is this where you start in, they're playing with it? No. Oh, crap. Man, I should have actually read this for Wait a second. I think I got
Yeah, so the
wrong.
next thing, let me see. So we have number 5, so to speak, because I've numbered it with Tifa saying "Regardez," and the next thing should be so-called number 6, which is Cloud saying "Ils se foutent de nous." They're playing with us.
Is
or,
this the same?
Seriously?
Is this the same scene?
Yes, it's
Okay.
the same scene.
Okay.
It's what he says next.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll pull it up. Let's see. My bad.
No problem. This is
Oh,
how it works with live streams.
Absolutely. Let's see. Let me make sure you didn't already. No, this is after. Okay. Good lord. There we go. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, a little before that. Let's see.
Alright, I'm sure it'll come up, yeah.
Yeah.
I clearly had no idea
Il
where I
faut
was
qu'on
going.
traverse ce hangar.
Is that the line that you're talking about, or is after that?
I think it's before that. We want the one where the subtitles are going to say seriously, basically. So when we see him saying seriously, which I think is when they first see the "come on" show up. I think it's his reaction to seeing the message or whatever that the ghost put up there. It's somewhere around there.
No, that's the beginning. Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay. We'll find it.
Yeah, we'll find it. It's in there somewhere.
Très bien.
He said please, that's funny. Oh wait, no, he said very good. Isn't that what he said? Très bien. Très bien.
Très bien. Yeah, that means very good. Very good. Très bien.
J'ai pas rêvé, hein.
C'est ni l'endroit ni l'heure pour les enfants.
What did he
Good
say
old
right
Crouch.
there? Because that's so funny. Why would kids be out here just like he's trying to be so respectable too, but he thinks she's being like a lunatic right now with this ghost stuff. Oh,
And for whatever reason, I don't know about Elixon, but on my end, I can't hear the audio when this is playing, so unfortunately, I can't say.
oh
what he's saying.
shoot. Okay, sorry.
No problem.
Can you hear it now?
Let's see. Can you hit play? Let's see. No, for whatever reason. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't added the. Oh, I know why. I'll add it back when we.
Okay, yeah, it's no problem.
When I put
It's
it
not a
on.
problem.
Yeah, it's just I've been playing around with the new version
Yes.
of OBS,
Ooh.
so I'm having to re-add.
Exciting.
everything.
Yeah, you have to. Yep.
Let's see. Output. Yeah. Elgato. Yeah. So. Elgato sound. Yeah. So when you see it on YouTube after I re-add everything, you'll hear it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Now.
Très bien.
Still can't hear anything, can you?
No, but it's fine. It's okay.
No, hold on now. I'm gonna figure this out. Hold on. So don't.
I get it.
I know where to. Let's see. Just this time. No. Game. There we go.
In the nose, but just can't F with ghosts. Yeah, that's true. That stuff says everyone has their fears. Too true. We all have our fears.
It's the casual Japanese thing. Like they can literally beat demons and giants, etc. And then they saw little ghosts. Ah, no, I can't.
Right? Exactly.
That's Japanese.
That is true. That's very. That
That's
is true.
Japanese thing.
Absolutely.
What in the what? Okay. Oh wow. All right. Yeah, we'll just have to. I'll add it in later. I don't know what's going on with this.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not gonna get too caught up in it. But yeah, I will add that sound later. So don't worry about that. And hey, Fletcher Moose, how are you? Thank you for joining.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's wrap this up. Okay. So because I have partying to do. It's Halloween. In One Piece.
Yeah, I think it might have been. I think it was. Yeah, it's around here when it shows up, and that's his reaction to it. Like, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
I don't remember this seriously at all, though. But then again, like I said, I hate this chapter, so I never replay it. After having to. Ce serait pas. So let's just start there. Ce soit pas. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Oh wait, no. Let's just start there. Okay. Ce soit pas.
So are we going to Tifus? Okay, so ce serait pas. Well, I do want to back up. I don't think it's important that we see it, but I do want to mention the foutre if I can really quick.
Oh yeah,
because it's a really interesting a verb in French, a very colorful verb. So when Cloud says il se fout de nous, which is literally, I translate it as they're playing with us, or it's like they're messing with us. And in English, in the official translation, seriously. So this is an expression, se foutre de. First of all, I want to mention that foutre is quite strong. Some might even say vulgar. So you're not going to use it in polite company.
It can be used as a swear word.
So like almost saying like they're fucking with us is what it's saying. Like
exactly. It can be the equivalent of that lovely F word. Exactly. So se foutre de can mean to make fun of someone or to F with someone, to mess with someone. So that's what he wanted, but I wanted to mention that.
Yeah, Mez is classier than I am. I'm very unclassy. I immediately read it as they're fucking with us. That's what I...
That's what it is.
Even I will translate it as they're F with us and not playing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're effing with us. That captures the
the essence.
The essence. Yes, the essence of what he's saying. So foutre itself is very flexible. It does have that feel of
clearly.
Yes. So some other examples. For example, there are many expressions. For example, there's an expression, va te faire foutre. Not nice. You might not want to use it. But it basically means go F yourself, right?
I love how you won't curse in English, but you cuss it out everybody in French on my street. That's funny as hell.
Very disrespectful, right, of the French language. That's true. No problem in French. Or you can say another expression is fous-moi la paix, which means leave me alone, or I guess you could say leave me the F alone. La paix is peace. It's like leave me in peace, but when you use fou, it's making it a little leave me alone.
Putting a little clarity to it, yeah. Put a little,
just making it clear, exactly. And then the final one I want to mention, because this is very common and I think very French, you can use je m'en fous, which means I don't care. Look, I don't care. I couldn't care less. Je m'en fous.
In other words, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. They say I'll do the translating for you. Don't worry about that.
I don't give a fuck. It's another thing. It's even stronger than foutre, but it's really a common thing that only guys mostly say because you talk about your balls to say I don't care. The girls can say it too. Girls can say it too, but it's mostly the guys who say because it's literally even stronger than foutre. It's literally you say je m'en bats les couilles. You literally
je m'en bats les couilles, voilà.
You literally say the translation would be I hit my balls.
This is the best French lesson I have ever been a part of in my life.
It's really the max level of the I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I took French for 7 years in high school, middle school and high school, and I could say without a doubt this is the best French lesson I have ever been a part of in my life.
Okay, I don't know why, because lots of language like use balls to like show the masculinity.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. No, the topic is just hilarious. I love it.
In French, you literally use it to insult people.
I've got to learn that. Oh man, all right. I'm gonna enjoy rewatching this stream. Oh my god. All right. Okay, so did you want to talk about Eris line here, or the next couple lines, or you want to just jump to?
What happens with Eris line here? She says what? Is this where she says "venez par ici"? Like, come on, huh? Not much to say about that. You know, the venez is again the command form, right? Come over here. That's the vous.
That should have been for the bedroom. Come. Okay, it's like go ahead. Venez.
She's gonna write this one down too.
Yeah, that's Cloud talking to Tifa in essence. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so venez par ici. Hey.
Yes, venez par ici. So she's repeating, of course, the message that's written in English. It says, "Come on." Venez par ici.
Oh.
It's like, "Come over here." So she's repeating what the message that they've seen. That's
Oh damn, Scorpion. Get over here. Come here. Come over here.
Get over here. Yeah.
All right.
Exactly. So.
Now that I see it in chat,
Yeah.
actually the fumalape is one of the rare swear word you can say as formal. You can
Fumalape.
use it formally.
Oh.
The
Oh,
fumalape.
really?
And
I
it's
wish-
one of the rare swear word in the yeah, because swear word is like casual
Yeah.
thing you say in the street,
Right.
not in a formal way.
Yeah.
But fumalape you can use it as a formal.
So like if your boss if you're quitting a job and you're talking to your boss. All
Yeah,
right.
you can say foutez-moi la paix. It works.
I see.
Fumalape, it
Yeah.
works.
So you could use the. That's funny. You can use the vous form. You know, you can use the polite form
Yeah,
and say,
you can use
"Foutez-moi
the
la
vous.
paix." That's funny. Ah, I see. "Foutez-moi la paix." Leave me alone. Okay.
That's funny.
But it's formal, so
Yes.
it's not a swear word actually.
Oh, okay.
It's
But
the
it's
vous
still
form, so
it's still strong. It's still strong
No,
because
it's
it's
strong,
foutre.
exactly. And foutre is strong. And of course, I think people know this, but you know, these are strong expressions. So you
Yeah, so
necessarily-
don't go flying. Yeah. I mean, please
Don't
understand,
go
we're just
flying.
saying this, for
Yeah.
educational purposes. Don't run
don't
around
go on
using
there.
this.
And
yeah,
just foutre.
don't go to France and say this stuff.
No. You recognize it, you know, but
Yeah.
you don't need to necessarily use it unless you want to take it there.
Exactly. And then
Mhm.
Kuske,
Yes.
que, vous, and dit, and she's using vous as in plural in this case. But then
Yes,
she's
exactly.
because the reason I'm thinking is just because it's plural is because she also says on, or I forget how you said to say that.
Yes,
which you
yes,
said was
yes.
informal, right? Un suit la
right,
flèche,
so,
flèche, whatever, I don't know.
On suit la flèche, voilà. So, qu'est-ce que vous en dites? This is the qu'est-ce que that we talked about earlier, which is the what, right, at the beginning of a sentence for a question. So, literally, qu'est-ce que vous en dites is like, what do you say? You know, what do you say about it? What do you think? Meaning, on suit la flèche means literally, we follow the arrow, meaning, should we follow the arrow? So, what do you say? Should we follow the arrow? Now, the official translation has nothing to do with any of that. It's, well, that's inviting. So I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, that's
there.
just localization. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So again, we talked about qu'est-ce que, which is what. As you said, vous is being used because she's talking to both Tifa and Cloud. So it is the plural. And I did want to mention this en.
Yes.
This en.
Yes, I was about to ask about
very,
that.
very French. I'll just mention it briefly. We don't really have the same idea in English, but French is very precise. So what's happening here is when you have an expression or a verb that uses the preposition de, which is de, and you want to refer to that thing that uses de, you're going to replace it with en. En. So I have an example here. If I want to say I'm talking about the book, right? I'm talking about the book. That would be je parle du livre. I'm talking about the book. Now, let's say I don't want to keep referring to the book over and over, and I just want to say, yeah, I'm talking about it. Because there's a de in there, or du, I'm going to need to replace it with en. So it's going to become Jean parle. So let me put that in the chat. We have our original sentence.
Okay. Then that does bring up another question, though. Why
Yes.
is Aerith? It isn't like she's mentioned it before. Maybe. So then it makes me think maybe because they're all clearly paying attention to what she's talking about, that she uses on instead of.
Yes. Now there are all. Sometimes it can be inferred. In other words, even though you haven't stated it explicitly, sometimes things are understood. So why is she using en? It's like literally she's saying something like, what do you say about the idea of moving forward? You know, whatever it is, what do you say about ... So even though she hasn't stated it explicitly, it is implied.
It's implied.
And still you can use en to replace de, even if you haven't stated it explicitly. It's sort of understood that you're referring. So it's like, what do you say about it, or what do you think about that? And that's
That
what
makes sense.
is doing there.
That makes sense.
So in the example, so in the example I had about the book, if you want to say I'm talking about it, because you have this du or this de, you're going to have to use en to replace it. You're replacing du livre with en. J'en parle. So that's a thing that happens in French.
Okay, it's almost like is sort of it. Sort of. I know it's
exactly.
not. I know it's not a direct
it
one-to-one,
but
absolutely,
sort of. It can translate a lot of times as it, with the caveat that this is it for something that includes in French the de, right? The de, and then that's going to translate to en. Yes. Exactly. And then finally, on suit la flèche. I just wanted to mention that in English, if we translate literally, we follow the arrow. We would never ask a question in that way. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
You can. It just sounds cavemanish, but you can do that. Especially if you're making a suggestion, it's like you just take a statement, make it into a question with your intonation, and you're saying in English we would have to be more explicit. We would say, should we? Do you wanna? What do you think?
Or even we would say just follow the arrow.
Yes,
that could
yes,
work. Yeah. No, it's unnatural, but I could see a scenario where somebody would say follow the arrow.
Right. But in French, even though it is casual, it's very, very common. You can say on suit la flèche. So when you want to suggest something, you can just use your intonation to make it a suggestion.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's the fastest way to say.
Exactly.
Just say something, and with the context, you understand when you.
Absolutely.
So that's all.
C'est ça.
The less word, the better.
Right. Exactly. So that's all I have on that, unless Elixon has something else to add.
No, nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
I learned something.
Très
nothing
bien.
to say. I learned.
C'est bien.
And then Cloud says we need to go through this hangout. Il faut quoi? Crevasse, c'est hangout.
Voilà. Il faut qu'on traverse ce hangar. Voilà. Il faut qu'on traverse ce hangar, which I translate as we need to literally go through this hangar. Literally, it's necessary that we cross through or go through this hangar. And the official translation there, all right, let's see what's inside, which again isn't exact, but it's a similar idea. Now, I did want to mention this il faut que. It's a very, very common expression. It literally means it's necessary that. Again, we would not say that in English. In English, we say we have to,
we need to.
And I would say that here I'm translating it as we, because he's referring to all of them, but il faut que is flexible. You could be talking about yourself, what you yourself need to do. Or you could be telling someone else what they need to do. So it's a nice expression because it could refer to whoever you want it to refer to.
It's not really like it's the subject, but it's not really. It's flexible as far as who it's impersonal. Yeah, it's not.
They call it impersonal.
It's not direct. It's not like I need to go inside. We need to go inside.
No, it's it is necessary.
Okay, cool.
And then finally, I wanted to mention this. This is also very French. Technically, il faut que, if we're going to use that structure, it requires something that is called the subjunctive. So this verb traverse, even though it doesn't necessarily look particularly different, it technically is in this mood, this conjugation that we call the subjunctive. So in French, there are certain set expressions that usually use que. Certain verbs, certain expressions, and they trigger this special conjugation called the subjunctive. So one of those is when you're talking about something being necessary. It's necessary that triggers a subjunctive. So you can't see it here. Traverse doesn't look different. But for example, let's say I wanted to say, he has to do his homework. Okay, if we compare, if I just say he's doing his homework, just a straightforward kind of fact, then this is how it would look. And let me get back. I accidentally clicked on something. So I'm having some technical difficulties.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Back to the correct chat and send what I want to send. Okay, there we are. So this is how he's doing his homework would look. Il fait ses devoirs. Just a straightforward statement. Now, let's say I want to say literally it's necessary that he do his homework. Like he has to do his homework. We're going to see that the verb is going to change once I use this il faut que, and it becomes il faut qu'il fasse ses devoirs. And literally, it's necessary that he do his homework. So we notice that the verb to do changes from fait to fasse, and that is because the il faut que is triggering the subjunctive. So I just wanted to mention that technically that is also happening here in this sentence. Voilà.
Awesome.
And those were the things I wanted to mention about this. Again, unless Edixon has something he wants to add.
I just learned it.
Okay. Très bien. Très bien. C'est ça.
I really didn't know about that.
Because you just say it naturally. It's not something that you have to think about.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. By the way, I'm sure there are people who are speaking English because you have to figure out all this stuff. And Meza is a French teacher, so she's Elixion is just a native speaker. Like, it just is what it is. He's just speaking what he. So I'm sure there are a lot of things people who are learning English could tell me about the English language. I'm like, oh, really? Like, I didn't know. That's what I love about this interaction. You have somebody who is a former French student who has no real, like, I'm relearning French. Then you have someone who speaks, who is a second language or bilingual person, and then you have a native speaker. So we get all this different content. It's a very fascinating discussion. I love it.
100%. I was thinking that too. I love the mix. Yeah, really, really, really nice.
I'm unlocking IQ right now in French.
All right. So next
we have Miss
Tifa's line,
who says "Ce serait pas hanté," which literally would be something like, which doesn't. Sounds clunky in English, but literally it wouldn't be haunted, which is something like it's not haunted, is it? But in the official translation they just say, well, what do you think, which to me is not at all the same thing, but whatever. Okay. I don't know why.
Cena.
Good old Cena. But I wanted to mention here this serait, which literally translates as would be. This is a mood that is called the conditional, a type of conjugation that's called the conditional. It often translates as would do something. So I have an example sentence here. If we want to say, if I were rich, I would buy a house, for example. That is going to use in part our conditional. So this is our example sentence. Si j'étais riche, if I were rich, j'achèterais une maison. I would buy a house. So that j'achèterais with the AIS ending is another example of what we call the conditional, expressing this idea would do. So Tifa here is being kind of tentative, like she's not 100% sure, like, is it haunted or not?
Almost like hypothetical. Hypothetically, it's haunted. Hypothetically, if I were rich, this is what I would do.
Yes, exactly. Hypothetical, absolutely.
Okay, great. She is so cute. Oh my God, look at her. I love her. Okay, so we'll just
ungirling.
And then I'm sorry, did you have anything?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yes. I'm good, unless Elixon has something to add about this portion.
No, not really.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you handle this next portion. I'm determined to make him speak.
I see. Okay, take it away, Elixon. It's all you.
I'm good, bye.
He's like, I'm out. You're not
okay, sorry. So, can you tell me how to say this, Elixon, and then can you explain what's going on here? Allons
voir.
Allons voir. It's the it's
oui.
It's the we again. It's the we for the allons. It's the go. Yeah, the go. I was hesitating. Yeah, it's go, and it's like we need to go. see.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's check it out.
Th-
We
Yeah.
does
we
this
can
have?
also
Mm-hmm,
translate
mm-hmm.
it by. We should we should look. Let's
Mm-hmm.
check
Mm-hmm.
it.
Like let's.
Okay.
We should
Yeah.
look.
Yeah. Let's
It
see.
will be the literal
Yeah.
translation.
Like let's go see. Which again we wouldn't really say in English, but that's the literal idea. Like let's go. I said check it out. Right. Let's go see. Literally. Mm-hmm.
Does this have any relation? This is gonna sound like it's out of left field.
No.
Does this have any relation to Ale?
It's not out of left field.
Does does this have any relation to
No,
allez-vous?
just let's check it. It's literally let's.
Okay, okay. Does this have any
No,
relation?
because we
Mm-hmm.
if it was just saying to Cloud to go to see and not Cloud identify, it will be personal. But here it's just friends. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
people,
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Three of us. Yeah.
I just love this. I'm I'm gonna I'm loving all the shipping stuff. But seriously, I want to ask a question.
Yes.
Does this have any relation to allez-vous at all, either individually or together?
The
When I
allez-vous, it's like we, but wait, allez-vous, no, it's allez-vous, it's you, so it's it just
yeah.
just how do we say that? It just target one person, the person you talk to, but allons, it's we, so it groups everyone in the
Yeah, it seemed like a
in the
conjugation.
yeah.
It seemed like it seemed, or maybe not conjugation is the right word, but it seemed like a different form of aller. At least that's what that. So when I saw the allons, that's what I thought of. I think voir is different than vous, obviously, but but that's what I was trying to say. That allons.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So allons comes from the infinitive aller, which I've just put in the chat, which means to go. That's the infinitive before you do anything to it. And then allons, this is again the command form, right? So when you take that new form and put it in the command form in English, that translates as let's do something. Right, let's do something. So the allons here is the command in the new form, meaning let's do. So it's being put in the new form. For example, if we wanted to say we go, nous allons. Nous allons.
Nous allons.
Right? Now, now you mentioned with vous, if we wanted to use it with vous, like you go, plural, let's say, or formal, it would be vous allez. You go, you're going, vous allez.
Okay.
Vous allez. Now, the first thing
because in this case, so it seems like in allons voir, that
Voir.
allons is the subject, whereas in what you just wrote, vous is the subject.
Right. So again, yes, when we say vous allez, for example, vous is the subject and aller is the verb. And as I mentioned before, with the command form, we do not have a subject. You drop your subject. So allons, as far as how we structure it, it's coming from the new conjugation, but because it's a command, we don't include the subject. We don't say nous allons because that would be a statement. We're going. We want the command, so you drop the subject. So allons is the verb. We would say it's the verb in the command form or the imperative, and then you have that followed by the infinitive, let's go see. So there is no subject, in other words, grammatically in this sentence. It's just two verbs.
Gotcha. Okay. Fascinating.
So allons voir, and again, voir literally means to see, but here the idea behind it is let's go see what's going on. Let's go check it out. Is what's in English or in the official translation. I'm game. Which, okay,
Yeah, just
however you want to put it. However you want to put it. She's open to going and checking it out. She's
Yeah,
not afraid. Let's do it.
Yeah. She's it's, again, just localization stuff. So
Yes.
Non.
And then Tifa makes some more sounds, kind of, non mais, which means no, but literally.
Okay.
And in English, in the official translation, they just shorten it to but. I don't have anything to say personally.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
I think this is the crux of what we're getting.
This is the crux. This is why we're here, right?
Yeah.
This is where we get into the messiness. So Aerith says, ne t'inquiète pas, nous avons un super garde de corps, ça va aller. Which literally means don't worry. We have, I just said excellent, super is like great, excellent, whatever, fantastic. We have an excellent bodyguard. Everything will be all right. On the other hand, the official translation is it'll be fine. We've got a bodyguard, don't forget. Mine. So there's no mine, and I know we both know this stage.
And that's not from the Japanese. They just Sana just wanted to pull some bullshit.
I went and I double checked in Japanese. It's Daijoubu sugoi de no bodyguard iru kara. There's no mine in there.
No mine. Yeah.
That's
100% Sana bullshit. Yeah, we understand.
Exactly.
Actually, in French, it's Iris just talking about the group. And in English, it's literally saying me and Cloud.
Yes, so they added some spice, but if we're going to talk about the grammar behind it, ne t'inquiète pas does mean don't worry. So this is also the command form. Now we're putting it in the negative, right? So we're wrapping our ne pas around our command form to say don't worry.
Yeah, and the T apostrophe being you. Don't you worry.
Exactly. Right. This is short for that to, because in this case, that particular portion, Aerith is talking directly to Tifa. So she's using the informal, and like you said, the T apostrophe is short for that to. So don't worry, ne t'inquiète pas. And then she says, we have, using nous, we have a great and excellent bodyguard, a super.
A guard of bodies is what it.
Yes, exactly. It's literally a guard of bodies. And I want to mention that avec le corps, something I guess that's interesting, is even in the singular, even if we want to say one body, it happens to include the S. So the word corps always includes an S, even in the singular. So, for example, the body, le corps would be corps. Yes, but it can also be plural. And then ça va aller literally means it's going to go. It's going to be all right. So, aller, like in the expression ça va, can be used to talk about things being okay. It's going all right. So she's putting this in the future. Ça va, in this case, means it's going to be okay. Ça va aller. Like, we'll be all right. Everything will be okay. Savadi.
Okay, and tell me how to say corpse again. Sorry.
Oh yeah, corps.
It's kind of like deer when you said it can be singular.
You forget the P and S. You just forget the P and S and say COR.
Yes. Exactly. Corps. Exactly. The P and S is silent, and again, this just means body, and it can be a living body. Okay, even though it looks like corpse, it does not mean corpse. This can be a very alive body, indeed.
And you said it can be singular or plural. It reminds me of the word deer, like it's singular or plural. There's no plural to deer. Right. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So Eric could be talking about a bunch of corpses, or she could be talking about. This
just has to take it to the dark side.
Hi Charles, by the way, and then I'm noticing famous France. I don't know what Ziana just said. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's see. Let me find it.
I must have butchered it so bad that you couldn't even tell what the hell it was supposed to be.
I didn't mean that stage. No. I wasn't trying to throw shade. Like, let me find that.
She was like, "What this bitch?"
I just want to make sure I have it right, that I'm not putting out, false information. No, but cette fameuse phrase, voilà. So this famous sentence, right? This famous phrase, meaning the infamous, we might say like the infamous bodyguard sentence. Right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's funny, and it is infamous, because Elixon, and I don't know if you're aware, but in the English, like, people are taking this as LTD stuff, like Aerith is almost like how you remember in the Temple of the Ancients when she has when she clings on the cloud and asks Kate Sith, who is the worst fortune teller on the planet, clearly, about that. And I mean, to the point where they make fun of his fortune telling, specifically about that scene in the Ultimatums, the same Ultimatums that apparently we shouldn't pay attention to because reading is bad. And like Tifa standing there, so that, like, people are taking it sort of that way, as where like Aerith is fluttering and like claiming Cloud as her own when she says mine, and because they cut frame to Tifa having a sour reaction, they're taking it as like her being jealous when that's not actually what's going on. She doesn't want to go. That's
exactly.
She's like, Aerith is telling her, "Oh, we'll be fine. We got Cloud," and Tifa's like, "Oh, what?" Like, yeah, I understand that, but this place is haunted.
Exactly.
Like, what is Cloud supposed to do about some ghosts? So yeah, that's the actual way that it's supposed to be taken.
Exactly.
Cena just put in their bullshit because, like, anybody who understands English context, particularly around something like this, you put mine is going to be inflammatory as far as like making it seem like there's some sort of rivalry happening between you.
Of course,
yeah.
and I guess that's another topic, but I don't even know why they did it. I think it's so silly, so petty. It doesn't really serve any purpose. But I find it also, as a North American, so to speak, insulting because it implies to me that they think that there's something about the English-speaking audience where we are kind of, we need that kind of spice or drama. Like, we have low attention spans. We need, that extra mess to keep us interested.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. In OG, there was a kind of jealous. Yeah, there definitely is a jealous, and I want to point out what Ziana, what she said. And she absolutely is right that they're
yes,
and they point out in Ultimania is like Tifa was jealous of Aerith. Tifa, but they weren't true love rivals. Neither one of them real, like,
no.
Cloud's feelings aren't known until the live stream scene. So, like, completely known. Even though you can pick it up on disc 1. And it's amazing. I'm not gonna put this person out, by name, but they were like, as a kid, I really thought it was one thing, but now that I'm playing through OG as an adult, it's clearly Tifa. So yeah, it's not like you can't pick it up, but there was an actual rivalry happening between Tifa and Aerith in their minds, at least. We know that Cloud was always in love with Tifa, but they didn't know that, So yeah, but as Ayana mentioned, in Remake, there is no rivalry happening between these girls, and it really makes me mad. Just to go on a bit of it makes me mad because, like, I love the friendship between Aerith and Tifa in Remake. It's so beautiful and genuine, and like, why? I don't know. I just don't understand why Cena wants to mess that up by playing these games. You know what I mean? Like, let it be. And I'm hoping that they don't go through all that bullshit and rebirth.
I know, absolutely. And the thing to me is, it's such a waste of time because a little silly line here and there is not going to undo all the effort that Square obviously went through to do away with the LTD. So I don't even think it's effective. It's just a waste.
They wrote Zack from the grave, for God's sakes.
Speaking of corpses, right? Yeah.
Speaking of corpses, thank you for bringing it back to the French language. Anyway, sorry, Elixon. I just that man. This fandom has me. This fandom has me in a place mentally right now. I'm just like, oh god. Anyway, yeah. So, and Zion said it's not an unhealthy jealousy. No, I mean it's like Cloud is jealous of Tifa. About Tifa multiple times throughout this. What makes it cute instead of toxic is that he's not like taking it out on her or anything.
No, not at all.
He's taking it out on the people who are around her. But he's not taking it out on her. But anyway, yeah. So back to the French lesson. I'll be cutting that whole tangent out. Yeah. So yeah, so the French follows the Japanese, which is why
exactly
it is in context of what is actually going on.
Right, which is why it makes sense and it's consistent with what's already been established.
And logically, it makes no sense for her to just randomly do this because they've had no contention whatsoever the entire time. But then she's just randomly going to be like, "Hey, bitch, this is my man." Like, there's not a I don't know why they try to villainize Aerith constantly. I mean, it's just my god. Anyway,
yeah, exactly. It's kind of doing her dirty because when you put stuff in there, if it has an effect, it's only going to irritate people, and give people a poor impression of her, which I think they're trying to, undo. You can tell that they want people to like Aerith, so make it easy for us. Don't do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, sorry, you don't have to respond at all to anything we just said.
He sounds like, je dis rien. He ain't saying nothing.
I mean, he's a huge Zara, so trust me. Yeah, he's a huge Zara, so he doesn't care. Yeah,
but it's sadly it's true. Like I don't know why, but the English version of multiple Final Fantasy, with the 14, for example, that I play a lot. Just so you know, like people who did all the story because it's an MMO, so the story is really long, and they did it in English, and they then see like a translation in Japanese or French, and be like, wait, it's not what I played. It's not at all what I played. And a lot of people like do videos on some characters that died or that everyone loved to compare the Japanese and the English.
Yes.
And it's literally not the same personality.
yeah, it's
Like
not.
literally, there's a character that died really early in the game, and everyone love it. There's literally in FanFest 2018, they did like a thing for this character, like it was a real person dying. Like they used like the time for the FanFest for the 14th time just to put like flowers for him, talk about him, like show some scene of this character. And in English, when you see the character in English, you don't particularly like him. It's just another character that talk about how great your character is as a hero. But in Japanese, he's like more your friend than a fan. In
Yeah.
English, he's literally a fan that just when he talks to you, he talks as I love you because you're a hero. And in Japanese and French, he talks to you like as a dear friend. And that's why when he dies, like your character crying in front of him is so much more significant than like
see.
in English when
Yeah.
it's just someone dying in front of you and you cry. You don't even know why in English.
Yeah, it's just such a shame. I mean, and we could do a whole. Honestly, we could do a whole. We should bring that up with Nagisa,
Do a
because
petition.
that we could do a whole stream just on this topic. So I've got some partying to do. So I'm just we're almost at the end of this.
So that's all I have to say about this portion.
Sent us on a whole tirade. Yeah. Hein. Now that reminds me of German for some reason. I don't know why.
This is a nasal sound, so it's more a sound than a word. But
Okay.
yeah.
Like
So
one.
the E.
It's like
Yes.
one.
Yeah. So, which means in this case, in this context, right? Like she's asking for Cloud's agreement. Is it right?
Ziana just said. Yeah, Ziana just said it'll be interesting to compare the English and the French of Trace of Two Paths.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly.
When the version, when the English version comes out eventually, is I think what she's saying.
Exactly.
I'm free balling here. I don't know French, but I'm just saying.
Look at Stitch. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what she's saying.
No,
Right.
she did a fault in French. Oh my god.
Okay.
She said le version.
Don't be
Yeah.
She.
I realized she did a typo. Yeah, and
Yeah.
well, which is good too. I knew she did a typo. Yeah.
No, pas de problème, Steph.
Girl,
Ça va.
don't apologize. Don't apologize.
Typically every day.
No,
French
no,
people
no,
every
no
day,
problem.
that's no.
Yeah, don't apologize, girl. We got it. That's what I'm telling you. That French is dormant in my mind somewhere, and y'all are bringing it out. I'm like, because I'm sitting there
I can
reading
see
this
that.
like it's.
I'm impressed.
I'm mildly impressed with myself. Okay. Okay, so les fantômes, ghosts. Yeah. C'est pas
Yeah.
mon trou.
Yeah, mon truc, c'est ça.
Ton truc. Oh goodness.
We do pronounce the C for once. But les fantômes, c'est pas mon truc. Literally ghosts. Ghosts. It's not my thing, right? Ghosts aren't my thing. So this is another example of what I call kind of repetitive or referring back to something, because he's not literally saying ghosts aren't my thing. He's saying ghosts, comma, it's not my thing. Again, a
Mm-hmm.
very common French structure. So, a couple things I wanted to mention. Pronunciation. We have fantôme. We may notice that there is a little chapeau, a little upside down V over the letter O. That does tell us something about pronunciation. When we have the letter O with that little chapeau, it's called the accent circumflex accent. It means that it will be pronounced like what I call a pure O, like O in the French alphabet. O.
Oh,
Fantôme. Oh,
fantôme.
voilà. So that tells us a little bit about the pronunciation, because in other contexts, sometimes the O can have a more open sound. For example, the word for telephone in French is téléphone, a little more open. But when we see the O with this accent, we know it is going to be that pure O. And again, les fantômes means ghosts like phantom. I wanted to mention truc. Truc is pretty, it's common, but it is a little relaxed, and it does mean thing. Now, the standard word for thing in another context is une chose. That's the general word for thing, une chose, which I can send in the chat.
Yeah, good. Mm-hmm.
Is another, it can mean thing, but in this particular expression, it's like a set expression. You are going to use truc. You wouldn't really use chose here. So if you want to say, that's not my thing. Like, I'm not into that. That doesn't work for me. This is how you would put it. C'est pas mon truc.
Can I just say how fucked up it is that he says this to Aerith?
Yeah. It's
how do they not see this shade constantly being thrown at? I just don't understand it. He's telling the woman that's going to be dead in 2 weeks, I ghosts are my thing. Like,
that's shade. That is shade.
That is major shade. Oh my god. But anyway.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I'm gonna keep thinking about that one. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna store that away.
Oh, yeah, it's some subconscious say. I don't know if it was conscious or not, but it was some shade. I mean, yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm not the first one to think about it. Trust me, because so, but yeah, man. Oh, anyway,
I'll just say something on the accent circumflex. You know, when I said that less word is better because it's faster. Accent circumflex is too long. We say chapeau.
Voilà, chapeau, like hat. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Chapeau.
Chapeau, because it looks like a little hat, I guess, right on top of them. Chapeau.
Exactly.
Yeah, voilà, c'est ça. Merci.
Okay.
Très bien. And that's all I have on that, if we're good with that portion.
Okay, and then, here...
Then we have Miss Tifa, who says, ah non, t'as pas le droit de dire ça. On compte sur toi. Which literally is, ah no. I said don't say that, but literally she's saying you don't have the right to say that. But again, we wouldn't put it like that.
Don't tell the DDC that. Oh, she forced them into it.
Literal translation. That's not to me what she's really expressing. The idea is, oh no, don't say that. You can't say that. Meaning, I'm scared, right? I want you to reassure me. So don't tell me that. You know, that kind of that's the idea behind it.
Oh shoot! Sorry, wait. I haven't even been the video. I completely forgot to keep playing the video. There we go.
Yes, there we go. Right, so and then she says on compte sur toi, we're counting on you. So it's the same expression in French and in English. We're counting on you. So again, it's a little different in the official translation. You're just being modest. After you, little different, but okay.
It conveys the same thing, basically.
I don't see the same thing, and I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So we have an expression here: avoir le droit de faire quelque chose means literally to have the right to do something, to be allowed to do something, and she's putting it in the negative. So something like you're not allowed to say that. Well, we would never say that in English. It really is like
don't say that. You know,
yeah, exactly. That's what she means.
It's actually words of encouragement. She's saying like, don't put yourself down. Don't think that you're not capable. You know. Yeah.
I think here it's most like because she's afraid. She used this as but no, it's not an order. But
it's not an order. Yeah, it's not an order.
In a real sentence, without being scared, it will be an order. But here, it's just that I'm afraid. I say my sentence really quick.
Yes, yes, exactly. And so I wanted to mention quickly this wonderful toi, right? She's saying, "I'm counting on you." Now we already talked about you being tu, and when it's the object, it's te. Well, here is another form of you now, toi. So this is just a French thing that we have to memorize when we want to use you, informal, speaking of one person after a preposition. So sur, which is sur, which means on. It's what we consider a preposition, like on, under, before, after, etc. So anyway, when you have this word you after a preposition, you need to grammatically use this form, toi, which we call the stressed pronoun. So this is going to be the form of you after a preposition. So we can't say sur tu or sur te. We need to say sur toi here.
And toi is the what did you call it? Like when we were talking about aller, the base. You see what I'm saying? Like
Right.
ALLER is the base, and then you change it depending on. So toi
right.
toi is that right? Toi is, or is
Oh
it?
well,
No, it's not.
So that's a good question. So first of all, going back to aller is what we call the infinitive. The term infinitive refers specifically to a verb in its purest form
Yeah.
before it's been conjugated to go, to eat, etc. So that's the infinitive, the base form. Now, toi for me, I would not consider that the base form. It is just a specific form that you use when there's several reasons why you use it, but one of them is after a preposition. It's a form that is
Okay.
called the stressed pronoun. So for me, there's no base form of you, so to speak. There's just different forms that you're going to use based on the grammatical role and what you're trying to communicate. So it could
Gotcha.
be tu for the subject, te for the object, or we see toi here for what we call the stressed pronoun.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
No, I don't.
Poor Tifa. I don't blame her. I'd be scared as hell too.
Yeah, of course.
And then our final part, so we is
Yes.
let's see,
Here we are.
D'accord, ça va.
mind letting me go then.
Yes, so we have Cloud says, "D'accord, ça va. Arrêtez de me coller." So d'accord means okay. That's what it means, okay. And we see ça va again. So this is where, for me, it's a little different than how we've seen it used earlier. Ça va as a question is when you want to make sure someone's okay or you want to ask how they're doing, right? And then you can respond, oui, ça va, meaning, yeah, I'm good. Now here, though, it basically means, okay, I translated it as I got it. It means, like, I'm good. Like, I get it. Okay, that's enough. Stop. So ça va sometimes can have a different meaning depending on the context. So here he's not saying I'm doing good. He's like, it's good, meaning stop it. Like,
Yeah, I understand. I got it. Yeah.
I understand, got it. And then he says, arrêtez de me coller, which literally is like, stop clinging to me, I guess.
Like almost stop I read that as arrest almost. Like don't because arrest has an actual meaning. It's not like just about, being a handcuff.
Right.
It's like arrest to restrain someone to prevent them from doing something.
It's true. It probably I think that's probably where our word arrest comes from. Now that you mentioned it, that would make sense. Because here's another random comment. But we see that the E has the chapeau over it. And a lot of times first of all, it means that the E will be pronounced so it tells us about the pronunciation. But historically, a lot of words that in the past had a letter S, because the pronunciation of French changed and that S became silent, they removed the S, but they then put a chapeau over the vowel that would precede the S. So this tells us that probably at some point in French, it was arrêté. ES.
Yeah.
So you're probably right that our term to arrest probably is linked to this, but in French, well, actually, in another context, arrêter is to arrest. It can mean to arrest, but here, arrêter, another translation, is to stop. So here it does actually mean to stop. It's the command form, so he's telling Tifa and Aerith to stop.
Forgot her name. Yeah,
what's the name? What's the face? No, but we see that he's using the Wu form, which tells us that he's addressing both Tifa and Aerith, right? Telling them to stop. What is he asking them to stop doing? Coller literally means to stick, or in some cases to glue, like when you're hanging on to someone. So he's telling them not to do that. Stop hanging on to me. Stop clinging on to me. And the official translation for all that is mind letting me go then? Which, yeah. Okay, Cloud. I mean, I'm like, you got two girls hanging on to you and you want them to let go? Whatever, Cloud. Yeah, right.
I mean, considering the way if you look at the mods, the way he's smiling at Tifa, cheesing like an idiot the entire time she's clinging on to him. This is Cloud trying to be. I mean, this is Soldier Cloud coming out like I'm the big hero. All right, let me go.
Yeah, exactly. I ain't buying it. Yeah, exactly.
I'm the big strong man. Let me go. Okay,
exactly.
cool. And I'm sorry. Tell me one more time about Calais.
Coller, which
Coller.
literally means to stick or to glue something, or in this case, to cling, like when you're clinging on to something.
Gotcha.
So when you're hanging on. Coller, voila.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was very interesting.
We can say podcast for someone who like follow you everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ziana said, Sid, you do Soldier Cloud well. I was like, yeah, big ear. All right. Great. Well, this has been an excellent discussion. Yes. I said it wouldn't be 2 hours. I say that anybody who has streamed with me ever knows I said that after, it's just going to be an hour. We're not going to sit here that long. I got things to do. And then we're 2 hours later, here we are. So, but
I
had a lot of fun though. I had a blast. I'm sure all of the French and English curse words that were flying will go over really well with Twitch. Ziana just said c'est toi bien. C'était bien.
C'était bien. It was good.
C'était bien. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah, this was very fun. Thank you so much again to Meza.
Thank you, Stitch, for putting this together. Yeah.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun. Thank you again to Meza and Elixion.
Yes, thanks, Elixon.
We will definitely do this again.
Absolutely.
Oh, before we go though, I've got to just get this. The train roll. It's only 2 lines, so I got to talk about this because.
Sure. And while you're bringing that up, I do want to thank Steph, for following us in the chat and all her comments, and thank you, Steph, as always.
Mon accent de merde, Zaina.
Yeah, Steph is absolutely amazing. Now, I was glad that we were able to do this earlier so that she can join because
yes, exactly.
Steph is just a total blessing to the fandom. She really is, just inside and out.
She's so encouraging and
she always puts all of the art for everything in amongst Discord and stuff, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
I just love it.
Oh, le courage.
Oui. And also, Nixon, just wanted to say, great job. I know it's not easy, doing things in another language, etc. But you did a great job. Très bien.
Yeah, you did absolutely great. Hold on, let me find this damn thing. Oh, there it is. Okay. And this is just absolutely outrageous that that SC put this in a video game is amazing to me. Ignore the politics.
So shocked.
Absolutely shocked. Okay, let me get to the French. Oh, here it is. Yeah, French.
Well, let me see.
Oh, y'all can't even see the.
We
dang
can
it.
hear it.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point.
No, Oh, let me see.
Okay. Let me. Damn it. Okay. Okay. Well, let's just save it for the next time because we're definitely gonna go over this.
Yes.
We're most certainly going over that.
It remind me something. In the group chat, I talked about Overwatch having a French character, and
Yes, that's right.
in the game you get a lot of how do you say that debuff, and you get froze, thrown in the void, electrocuted, etc. And of course, every character have their own hurting sound, and of course, the French character have moans too.
A lot of noises. Yeah.
I believe it.
Very, very sensual pain.
Yeah, I've never had so much pleasure being in pain in my life. It's just like, it's like what?
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing over there? Huh?
Zayana said we love making weird noises. All right, well, yeah, I'll let y'all go. Thank you so much to everybody who joined.
Oh yeah,
and we will definitely see you next time. Whenever next time is, will be to be determined. But yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Y'all have a great night. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Enjoy your night. You're dressed and ready, so enjoy your night.
Bye.